All right, we're going to hear back from Pastor David Whitney, who is the senior instructor of Institute on the Constitution.
All right.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience in the heat. I wonder how many of you as patriots have ever been duped. That is, you voted for somebody and then you discovered, oh, I made a terrible mistake voting for that individual when I saw what they did in office. If that's ever happened to you, I want to give you a tool today so that that does not happen again. You need to ask anyone running for office a series of questions to discover if they understand our form of government here. And obviously the current resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue does not understand our form of government. He keeps calling us a democracy. Are we a democracy? We're a what? We're a what? A republic. You said it when we said the Pledge of Allegiance. We're not a democracy. We are a republic. Because of the democracy, it's four wolves deciding with one sheep who's going to be had for lunch. And you are being robbed and deprived of your God-given rights because those in power think we are a democracy and they're acting as if we are a democracy. At Institute on the Constitution, we teach our founders' view of law and government, our founders' understanding of the words they crafted in the Declaration, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. And we want you to learn those, because if you know those, you will not be duped by politicians. Our table's right over there in the corner where Derek Howell is standing. We have a list of questions. Don't leave here without grabbing this list of questions to ask anyone running for office. The first question is, what, in your opinion, is the purpose of government? Now, if you understand and have read the Declaration of Independence, you know the answer to that question, and anything other than that answer indicates the person who holds that answer is unfit for public service. What is the purpose of civil government? Our founders said there's three things you need to understand. First of all, there is a creator God. Say it together with me. There is a creator God. Secondly, your rights come from Him. Your rights come from Him. And thirdly, the only purpose, say this, the only purpose of civil government is to protect and defend those God-given rights. Let's say that. The only purpose of civil government is to protect and defend your God-given rights. Their purpose is not to determine that you're wearing a helmet when you ride your motorcycle. Their purpose is not to determine how much water you flush down your toilet, which Washington, D.C. currently does. Those are not the purpose of government. And those who are doing those things in Washington, D.C. and Annapolis, Maryland, they are failures. They are not governors. They are masters trying to reduce us to servanthood. Well, you need to study the Constitution, the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and you need to study one of the most neglected documents in the state of Maryland, and that is the state of Maryland's Constitution. Do you know that most of the people down in Annapolis have never cracked that book open? I've testified in Annapolis numerous times, and many times when I use the state constitution and quote from it, I'll have delegates come up to me afterwards and say, "Where can I get a copy of that book?" What? That's their job description. We sent them to Annapolis. They don't even know what the book looks like, let alone know what the contents are. Institute on the Constitution is the only place where you can take a course on the Maryland State Constitution. It's now available online. We'll be conducting a course in the fall. And up here in Bel Air, because I know it's a long way for people to travel all the way down to our headquarters in Pasadena, but up here, we're going to be conducting a class on the U.S. Constitution. Derek Howell's going to be leading that class. If you want to find out about the details of the location and the time, please go over to our table, fill out the little brochure there with your email or snail mail address so we can contact you and let you know when that class will be held this September, I think right after the primary, this September, studying the U.S. Constitution. If you do not educate yourself on the Maryland Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, you have only yourselves to blame from the tyranny that emanates from Washington, D.C., and the tyranny, the worst tyranny of all, is that in Annapolis, because you know, all the tyrants in Washington, D.C. could be stopped. They could be stopped dead in their tracks if we had a governor with any guts and a governor with any commitment to follow the Maryland State Constitution, which says the federal government cannot do anything in violation of the 10th Amendment. The federal government cannot do anything to tax the people of Maryland unless it agrees with Article 1, Section 8. And if we had a governor and a legislature and judges in Annapolis who followed the law, we could be set free from Washington, D.C. Do you know that? That's what the 10th Amendment's all about. It says the states are the ones in power, the states are the ones that say to the federal government, this far, you don't go any farther. Do you know that in the state of Maryland, the IRS could be put out of business? Do you know that? In the state of Georgia, a friend of mine in Georgia has proposed a piece of legislation that would put the IRS out of business in the state of Georgia and back it up with the force of the state of Georgia and prevent the IRS from doing anything to any citizen of the state of Georgia. And you could list the rest of the agencies of the federal government likewise. The FBI, the ATF, you go on the whole list of alphabet agencies, they could be shut down. If we have state governments willing to do their duty and interpose against the tyranny of Washington, D.C., so that when Washington violates the supreme law of the land, the U.S. Constitution, the state government says, no way, not in our state, you won't do that. We can accomplish that, my friends, but it starts with educating ourselves, educating as many people around us as we can, and throwing the bums out in Annapolis who will not follow the law. The lawbreakers and the criminals have got to go. You and I can make it happen. Be sure to visit our table. If you're interested in the class this fall, sign up. We'll look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Liberté! Let's keep it moving.